Thank you. Well, thank you. Thank you, First Baptist Church and the Chamber for hosting this, and then thank you also for HCA for sponsoring the coffee. Wow, I was listening to the speakers that have come up here before, and I'm thinking about what a wonderful, awesome community that we live in. And I want to kind of transition now to talk about an organization we don't often think about until we're in a crisis. So this morning, I'd like to tell you the story of how HCA became a part of a story I simply call When Trauma Reveals Grace. Many years ago, I attended a Chamber of Commerce breakfast that was sponsored by Fort Walton Beach Medical Center. When it came time for the sponsor to speak, a man stood up and he excitedly began talking about a brand new machine the hospital had acquired. I don't remember whether it was an MRI or a CT scanner, but I remember two things. First, he was incredibly excited to tell us about it. Second, he kept enthusiastically talking about how many slices of the human body the machine could make. He would say things like, it can take 18 slices of the body or something along those lines. And every time he said it, I winced a little and I thought, maybe this isn't the best breakfast conversation as we're all sitting here eating eggs and biscuits. Well, fast forward to 2020. My firstborn daughter and I, that's a real picture, were in an auto accident and flown by helicopter into what is now HCA Florida, Fort Walton-Destin Hospital, with who knows what's going on inside of our bodies. We were both unconscious at the time, but I imagine we were placed into one of those machines and many slices were made. As I think back on it now, it's ironic. At one time, I found the subject boring and honestly a little off-putting. Yet years later, that machine, or perhaps an even more advanced version of it, became one of the very tools that helped medical professionals determine what was wrong inside our bodies and what needed to be fixed, including a spinal cord injury for me. It truly is amazing where technology has taken us. But what I didn't appreciate back then is that behind every remarkable piece of technology stands an entire trauma system. People who have trained relentlessly so that when the worst day of someone else's life arrives, they are ready. Today, HCA serves our region as a level 2 and level 1 in Alabama trauma center. As someone whose family owes so much to that team, I can tell you personally that our community is incredibly blessed to have them. Most of us hope we'll never need a trauma center. Truthfully, until 2020, I never imagined I would. But every thriving community needs one, whether you are a business owner, a teacher, a military family, a first responder, or simply raising your children here. All of us benefit from knowing that when the unthinkable happens, there is a team standing ready. HCA has one of my favorite doctors on the planet. You saw her picture a moment ago, Dr. Cathy Ho. She expertly led the trauma team that saved my daughter's life multiple times. As I understand it, Olivia flatlined more than once. In fact, when I tell other medical professionals that Dr. Ho performed an emergency thoracotomy on my daughter, they often stop and ask me, and she survived? Yes, she did. That's... But if you know Dr. Ho at all, if you know Dr. Ho at all, she'd probably be the first one to tell you that trauma care is never the work of one person. It is surgeons, emergency physicians, nurses, respiratory therapists, EMS crews, imaging technicians, laboratory staff, pharmacists, environmental services, chaplains, administrators, and countless others working together with remarkable precision. A trauma center isn't simply a building filled with advanced equipment. It's thousands of hours of preparation, coordination, teamwork, and sacrifice coming together in moments where seconds matter. And that brings me to my final point. My Christian faith has shaped the way I understand what happened to my daughter and me. Technology and caring experts can come together and accomplish incredible things, but ultimately, I believe it's all made possible by our Creator. I'm convinced that the survival of both myself and my daughter, while certainly aided by extraordinary technology and exceptional medical care, was ultimately made possible through the gracious intervention of our Lord. People sometimes ask me how I made it through. That's a problem. Thank you. It's always good to have a doctor nearby. Where was I? It's almost as if people are asking the age-old question, why do bad things happen? My Christian faith teaches that we live in a broken world, but it also teaches that God has not abandoned us to it. Through Jesus Christ, he's made a way for us to know him personally. And one of the remarkable things I've discovered is that God often takes circumstances we never would have chosen and produces beauty, purpose, and hope from them. Trauma has a way of revealing what truly matters. It strips away the illusion that we are fully in control. It reminds us how fragile life can be. But strangely enough, it can also open our eyes to the goodness of God in ways we never have noticed otherwise. Because when, thank you. Hi, Dwayne. Because when you've been through trauma, you begin to recognize moments of grace differently. You notice the hand that held yours when you were afraid, the voice that reassures your family, the angel who washes your hair for you. Oh, wait. Oh yeah, okay. You saw the angel washing my hair. The surgeon who carries the weight of impossible decisions, the therapist who work hard to get you back on your feet again, the environmental services worker who quietly cleans and prepares rooms so that healing can happen there, the cafeteria worker who feeds exhausted family, the chaplain who prays, the receptionist who greeted people with kindness on what may have been the hardest day of their lives, and even lets your wife in during COVID to celebrate your 25th anniversary. And in all those moments, I believe we catch glimpses of the character of our Creator, a God who is not distant from suffering, but present in it, a God who still brings light into dark places, hope into fearful places, and healing into broken places. Now, I don't pretend to understand every tragedy or every painful question on this side of heaven, but I do know this. My family and I have experienced both deep pain and incredible grace. And somehow, through it all, God has shown himself to be faithful, caring, and good, not always by removing the trauma immediately, but very often by working through people. So before I close, I want to say to HCA, on behalf of all of us, thank you. Every thriving community depends on people whose names most of us will never know until the day we desperately need them. And for my family, many of those people wore HCA badges. So thank you to every one of you, from the medical director to those who faithfully care for these facilities behind the scenes. Thank you for the years of training. Thank you for the long shifts. Thank you for the sacrifices your own families make so that you can care for ours. Thank you for carrying burdens most people will never see. Thank you for stepping into moments of chaos with courage, skill, and compassion. You may never fully know the ripple effects of what you do every single day. But I can tell you personally, because of people like you, my daughter lived. Because of people like you, I lived. Because of people like you, I got to walk my daughter Olivia down the aisle. And 2 years later, she and her husband gave us our first grandchild. For that, my family's gratitude will never be fully expressed in words. We are profoundly grateful HCA answered the call. Thank you, and may God bless every one of you.